Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it is indeed an honour and a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you tonight. This is one of those occasions where words cannot accurately convey the intense sense of pride and privilege that stir within me as I accept your kind invitation to be with you here tonight. I am proud to tonight address you on one of the most suppressed yet most logical and significant political ideologies of our time. I refer to the Anglosphere, a political union of nation-states, a collection of English-speaking people who also share democracy, similar legal systems, and capitalist free market economies. It is most fitting that we be here in London, in the Palace of Westminster no less, discussing this subject, for it is in this nation that the Anglosphere finds its spiritual home. It all began here in the early 1800s with the Industrial Revolution. Never before had so many people been able to pull themselves out of abject poverty through nothing more than innovation, hard work, and the ingenuity of the human spirit. That trend has continued until the present day, and in fact, if you look at any major economy or democracy in the world today that has any sense of admired standing, each and every single one, without exception, was greatly influenced by the British Empire. We must also recognise the outstanding leadership of the Anglosphere by the Americans since the Second World War. What England began in the early 1800s, America has continued to prosper into the new millennium. It will occasion little surprise to you to learn that the mainstream media and political elites of our world have forced us to feel uncomfortable about even making reference to the term Anglosphere, let alone discussing or promoting it as a concept or ideology. As a result, we do not yet possess the vocabulary to bring comfort to the term Anglosphere. And as such, it is tremendously important that we educate ourselves as to be able to educate others on what precisely the Anglosphere is. So, who makes up the Anglosphere? The United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Ireland, South Africa, and of course the English-speaking populations of Africa, India, Oceania and the Caribbean. What are we bound together by? We're bound together by a great many things: a common language, a common literature, a common history, the rule of law, a strong civil society, individual liberty, and of course the custom of honouring contracts and covenants. We also share common institutions of government, a tradition of constitutional government, a tradition of representative democracy, a tradition of independent courts. Not to mention a tradition of protecting and preserving an individual's rights, beginning with the Magna Carta and later developed into the English and American Bill of Rights, which include the right to life, liberty and property, the right to a trial by a jury of one's peers, the right to free speech, free conscience and free association. And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the hallmark, the trademark, the seal, if you will, of the Anglosphere. The elevation of freedom to the first rank of political and cultural value, which provides the next brilliant segue into the truly rich, dynamic beauty of the Anglosphere. It is not an ethnic concept. It is not a racial concept. It is not a religious concept. It is instead an open civilization, not defined by blood or ancestry, but by common shared values. Anyone can be a part of the Anglosphere as long as they share in our way of life and our values. And indeed, the societies of the Anglosphere have demonstrated repeatedly throughout history a great propensity to be able to integrate great swathes of culturally diverse immigrants into their societies. I also wish at this point to pay homage to the preeminent scholar on the subject of the Anglosphere, Mr. James C. Bennett, an American gentleman who is the founder of the Anglosphere Institute in America and the author of a fabulous book written in 2004, which I recommend you all go out and purchase, entitled The Anglosphere Challenge: Why the English-Speaking Countries Will Lead in the 21st Century. Much of the academic scholarship and thinking around the Anglosphere has been shaped by Mr. Bennett, and much of what I will draw upon tonight in my presentation to you, I also draw from him. So why is it that Conservatives are generally reluctant to publicly embrace or endorse the Anglosphere? Why is it that it is the term that dare not be uttered? It is for the same reason that no constructive debate can be held on the shortcomings of multiculturalism or the ills of illegal immigration. The moment that these matters are raised, the left and the media cry and paint racism. I have little doubt that when my comments, these comments here tonight, inevitably find their way into the public arena, the usual hand-wringers will clog the internet with their pathetic denunciations and accusations of racism. Oh, they'll say, there goes Adams again, the outspoken critic on multiculturalism, the great international defender of the evil America, this time trying to breathe life into the old imperial ideas about the dominance of the Anglo-Saxon race. And bang, right on cue, out will march every single major Conservative Party elected politician in your country and mine, knocking each other over to publicly distance themselves.